Hello everyone, today we will be driving an ICE 1 from Kassel to Göttingen, if I remember correctly. No, Göttingen to Kassel. I'll begin the departure preparations. For the PZB and LZB we will be having a Zugart of 9, a Bremshundertstel of 214, a Zuglange of 360, and a maximum speed of 250 for today's journey. I see that the Zugführer has already given us a ZP9 and the departure signal is showing HP1 Fahrt, so we will depart. Apparently I still had the brakes applied there as I couldn't apply power. As we will be departing from Göttingen, our exit speed will be 120 kilometers an hour. As the exit signal was green, I have released the PZB that will allow us to exceed the speed of 45 kilometers an hour without getting an emergency brake. As we pass the end of the anschließender Weichenbereich, the permitted speed is going up to 160. I can accelerate once the end of my train has exited the Weichenbereich. The rear of the train should have exited the Weichenbereich, so I can start accelerating up to 160. As we approach kilometer post 103.0, we have an LZB Einfahrttafel, which means when the rear of our train has passed that signal, the LZB will be switched on, which happened right now. With the LZB switched on, we will be able to drive a speed higher than 160 kilometers an hour, which is the maximum permitted by the PZB. little bit of trivia about ICE1. It is named by the DB as the Baureihe 401, which is 401. For those of you who are a little bit more in tune with the railways in Germany, you might realize that the maximum permitted speed on the ICE1 is 280 kilometers an hour. But because of a regulation within the Deutsche Bahn, that says that when the route passes through tunnels, the maximum speed is permitted as high as 250 kilometers an hour. That is why we today are driving a maximum of 250. For those of you who are a little bit more in tune with the signaling, you might have realized that the signal we just passed was blank, which in normal circumstances, when you're not driving on LZB, would mean the signal might be broken, so you'd have to stop. But in this case, we are driving under LZB, which means we are effectively having in-cab signaling. This means that the line side signals can be extinguished and we can still continue safely, because the LZB constantly shows us our maximum allowed speed. We have just about reached our maximum speed for today of 250 kilometers an hour. The sound you just heard was the LZB detecting a decrease in the speed limit, 9.8 kilometers ahead. The decrease will be to 210 kilometers an hour. The speed reduction is now 5 kilometers away. You can see the light bar counting down the distance towards the speed reduction. In a minute, a red lamp on the Leuchtmelder will light up with the letter G on it. This means Geschwindigkeit erwarten. It has just happened. When this lights up, I start braking the train. As you can see, the red arrow on the speedometer has just started to move. This indicates our brake curve towards 210 kilometers an hour. The speed reduction is now half a kilometer away. The system has detected yet another speed reduction. The arrow will start counting down shortly, but I am already applying my brakes to maintain a smooth brake curve. I have now reduced my speed to 280 km an hour and I will allow the train to coast. This conserves energy. As a speed reduction to 160 has popped up in 750 meters, I will slowly start reducing my speed again. We are now on a reduction to 140. Up ahead you see the sign called LF6, which is LF6, which stands for announcement of a speed reduction. The 14 tells us that we need to reduce our speed to 140 kilometers an hour. This is also observed by the LZB. As the next speed reduction is still 5 kilometers away and it is only 10 kilometers of a reduction, I will give some power to maintain or try to maintain our timetable. On the signal we just passed, we saw an indicator that is called ZS1. This indicates our direction. This table was filled with a W for Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe. I will use this hill to reduce my speed a little bit for the upcoming speed restriction. I am now starting to brake for this 130 km an hour speed restriction. We are now driving past Abstellwerk Northwest A and B, separated by this block signal right here, showing Vaart and Vaarterwarten on the system HV Compact. We are now approaching Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe. For which I will maintain my braking. The signal we see here is BR0, which stands for Halterwarten, which means the next signal is possibly at danger. The LZB indicating a next speed restriction of 0 km an hour reinforces my decision that I suspect the exit signal of Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe to be at danger. We are now arriving at Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe, and the voorsignal here is repeated on the platform. As we can see from here, the exit signal is indeed at danger. We have now arrived at Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe. I am now releasing the doors. we can now see, now that the journey has concluded, that the simulator decided to give us a result of 94.9% with a one-time forgot to release the doors, which happened somewhere, I don't know. I stopped everywhere. If someone knows, they could explain. But I hope you like this new style of video with commentary, and that will be it for today.